I've got some rather bad news, I guess, about human nature. And our human body should come with it written on a prominent warning label announcing it from the very start. We're programmable. And I almost feel like that's all I need to say. We're programmable. This statement should be supremely humbling to all of us because, come on, admit it, we think we're pretty darn smart, don't we? We think we're making decisions. We think we've got it mostly figured out while the rest of the sheeple run around in circles chasing their tails. But wait, we're programmable, very much like a computer or heck, an automated sprinkler system. And like not just a little bit, we're highly programmable. And there are tons of people working hard to program us. And they do a pretty good job at it, unfortunately. Most of them do it without even realizing it because they've been programmed to. Others have recognized how programmable we are, and they devote their whole lives to becoming skilled at programming people. At one level, we call it sales and marketing, groomers, manipulators, but it goes much deeper than that. It has become public knowledge that there was, maybe still is, a long-standing top-secret intelligence program that specifically researched how to program people on actual live people. These are the very same people that brought us Project Midnight Climax, aka the CIA dosing innocent, non-consenting civilians with LSD without their knowledge to observe what their reactions were. They have gone much further than that and done some absolutely ghastly things to innocent people in pursuit of this mind control knowledge. And that's just the stuff we know about. I shudder to think how dark and depraved it's actually gotten. And of course, that's the extreme end of the spectrum. And thankfully, most of us will never be experimented on in a top secret facility. But we don't really need to be because no matter where we are, we're being programmed. And we've already been deeply programmed. We usually don't recognize this because it is the very nature of being programmed that we don't see that we've been programmed. If the words "we're programmable" doesn't give us massive pause, then something has gone wrong with our thinking. And unironically, that is itself a sign that we've been programmed. The fact that we're programmable means that we can't blindly trust our own thinking, like so many of us tend to do. I just saw this very clearly the other day in myself. I was contemplating how many times I have been betrayed by romantic partners and even by friends over the course of my life, and in a sudden moment of clarity, I saw that by far the most unreliable and inconstant companion I've known in my entire lifetime is my own mind. Like I said, humbling. Conjecture. If you cannot recognize this to be true of your mind also, I strongly suspect that it's only because your programming won't allow you to recognize it. Programming protects itself somehow. In fact, I suppose we could say that there is an invisible canyon dividing all people into two categories. On one side are normal people. They're towing the line. They're not questioning much of anything they were brought up to believe. They recognize that there is disagreement in society about many things, but they dutifully pick one of the approved sides and they become loyal advocates for it against the other approved but different dissenting viewpoint. And then on the other side of this invisible canyon are the people who have somehow come to the recognition that we are all programmable and that we have, in fact, already been heavily programmed. Recognizing this, They become intensely curious to figure out who we really are and what reality really is without all that goddamn programming. I mean, science, art, philosophy, religion, these things are supposed to reveal the truth of things to us without the programming. And they do that to a certain extent. But there's one little problem, right? The programming infects those things too. And that's because our primary instrument for conducting science, art, philosophy, and religion is our mind. And our mind is the thing that's been programmed. When we start looking for a way out of the program, a lot of us get lost. And that's because our search for a way out is also heavily influenced by the program. It's sort of like having a dream that we're trapped in a large building and we want to wake up. So we start searching the building frantically from room to room, looking for a way to wake up from the dream. But no matter how many rooms we search, we don't wake up because our search is happening within the dream and it becomes part of the dream. But don't worry, there are things we can do to wake up from our programming. In fact, there are many things, perhaps thousands of different paths and procedures that we could take, and there are tons of brilliant people out there engaged in the work of helping us do that. So it's not hopeless at all. It is extremely hopeful. And yet, it's also kind of serious. It's sort of like getting top-notch medical care. It's very hopeful, but it's also kind of serious. As I've been stepping out on the world stage recently, at least in my own mind with my new YouTube channel, I'm realizing that everything I'm doing, everything I write about and make movies about is related to this fundamental issue. We're programmable. We've been programmed. And how do we wake ourselves up from the programming? One large obstacle to freedom from the program is that it can feel very scary to step out of the programming. Or at the very least, it can feel very awkward and uncomfortable. And then on top of that, we'll often get attacked for doing that. The normal people will step up as vigilante police and try to convince us to stay within the bounds of their programming, just like they are doing. Sometimes they try to convince us with pleading and guilt tripping. Sometimes they try to convince us with bullying and ridiculing. And in extreme cases, they can even resort to physical violence. Hey, no one promised that life wasn't going to be a little spicy. We might not remember it, but when we were looking at the menu for a life on planet Earth, there were a lot of these little chili pepper symbols on the side. I wanted to share this idea with you. We're programmable, for you to look at the world with right now. Because there are mighty dream forces battling to either wake us up or to keep the dream going for a while longer. Like I said, it's kind of serious, especially if you're someone who gets annoyed by that whole human mortality thing. But it's not at all hopeless. There is a way to wake up. In fact, we're sort of built to do that. Waking up comes naturally to us, and we've all got an alarm clock hidden inside of us. Guys, I think that alarm clock has started to ring. Do you hear it?